Another question. In an earlier video that discusses spiritual maladies in church as hospital, you mentioned spiritual remedies depending on the malady. Is there a particular book that discusses specific spiritual interventions to facilitate healing tailored to specific spiritual sicknesses? Of course there are. There's several books. One that comes to mind immediately is the Theologian of St. Nicodemus, which we publish in Uncommon Press, and you can obtain right now, unfortunately, only in ebook format, but which will be republished soon. Here I found it. It's very right in front of me. And so I would suggest that you read some of the commentary of St. Nicodemus there, especially the last section of that book, which is directed toward the penitent. There is, in many writings of the Church Fathers, that's much of what the Church Fathers talk about is the passions and how to be cured of them. And so if you read a book like St. John the Latter, he goes through all of the very passions and all the virtues and all of the struggle. You'll see again and again references to how these things are healed. There are contemporary books by Metropolitan Heroes Vlachos, for instance, on all of this, healing of the soul. There's small books, several small books. So one, Orthodox Spirituality, another one, The Cure of the Soul, that I recommend. So Metropolitan Heroes Vlachos would be a good start for a contemporary writer. But, if you have, for instance, let's just take sexual sins, which is plagues so many people today. If you are, have engaged in a lot of sexual practices, if you've been very loose and you've fornicated and you've committed self-abuse and all of the other things that destroy the purity of the soul, and you've enslaved yourself to these passions, there's going to be a long, arduous struggle ahead in terms of reversing all of these illnesses, as there would be in any physical illness. And there's going to have to be long, patient perseverance in fighting back against those inclinations, those thoughts that you've kind of trained yourself in. You've allowed yourself to become habitual abusers of the temple of the Holy Spirit, which is the body. And so to overcome that, you're going to have to go through a long process of purification. And the spiritual father would guide you through that through a variety of tools at his disposal. Obviously, prayer and fasting are the core of every regiment in the church. And that's how the demons are chased out of, almost in every case, is going to be through prayer and fasting. And depending on your condition and what kind of fast you would do and all the rest. There would be, of course, the Jesus prayer at the heart of every therapeutic method. There would be practical things, avoiding the occasion for sin, using any tool that would counter the lust and the rising of all the pleasure that is kind of a drug. I mean, a lot of habitual sexual perversities is not really that much different than narcotics for the brain. It's the same effect that draws you in, and it's an escape mechanism from the world. You're looking for consolation, quick and easy consolation to forget about the troubles and the difficulties of this life. So there's many ways in which the fathers talk about to counter these things practically as well as more theoretically, spiritually, with the prayer and all the rest. And so a good spiritual father would walk you through these things. And you can find these things, like I said, in such books by Metropolitan Heroes Vlachos, or the different patristic texts like Abrador Theos of Gaza, for instance, or the Evergetinos, or the Saints' Desert Fathers. There's many examples given in those lives, the practical working out of the theology of the Church Fathers in how they overcome various passions. You'll see ascetics engaging in long, drawn-out ascetic struggles in order to be freed of various passions. St. Joseph the Hesychist, who was in a cave and yet had tremendous, for a time, several years, had a tremendous temptation with sins of the flesh. Obviously, he was not being provoked by human beings. There are no women on Mount Athos. He was in a cave, so the demonic powers were coming, even though he was a great struggler. So even he had this great warfare, and of course was victorious to the point where he became impassive to all of those suggestions.